Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tyler, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Great to have you on.
Great to be here.
When you used to do a podcast, but you said it was...
Yeah.
It's like a very specific vein that I feel like we need to talk about, right?
Well, we did it remote. So we started during the pandemic because it was me and my buddy that I grew up with who was not a comic, it was funny, we put on the website that like hosted by comedians Tyler Losier and Dom. I won't say his last name because I think he's trying to get a job now, but he turned it around. I didn't, but we were like just both unemployed, like broke and depressed during the pandemic. Sure. So we just figured we'd couldn't get much worse. So that was the title of the show, Could Be Worse. And,
Could Be Worse.
And it was an audio program once a week, but we were remote. So I was in Denver and he was in Jersey where we grew up. So we had to like stitch the whole thing together and post every week. And I was unemployed. I had plenty of time. I had nothing. Let me tell you, I had nothing but time. And I would spend like 12 hours a week like stitching together and probably 30, 45-minute recording.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So no video because that would have been like impossible. But
right. So stitched together, like, what do you mean?
Like we'd record, like he had a microphone in his place, I had a microphone in my place. We record two separate audio tracks, and we would just piece it together and post to make it sound like we were in the same room.
Gotcha.
And if you go back to the archives, I think they're still up. I'll plug the Instagram later, but we'll save that for the end. Let's see how I do before I start promoting. But no, like it sounds like we're in the same room. I was very proud of the fact that we were able to like pull off a very good show. That like people, when we go to like hometown bars in our like hometown to this day, like we'll still have people like, yo, like when's the pod coming back? Like, no, we're doing good now, so never. But
never. Yeah. What's better than going back to your hometown and having everyone talk about your podcast?
Probably making more than $70,000 a year. I heard that's pretty cool.
Who knows anything about that?
Yeah, probably having the respect of your family, friends, loved ones.
Not as cool as a podcast.
Yeah, not as cool as dozens of people thinking you're kind of funny on the internet. That's really what I aspire to.
Dozens of people that you see in a drunken bar.
Yeah. One of those really, we went home and there's like maybe 5 people from my hometown who have done anything with their life. One of them actually was an SNL writer for a time.
Really?
Yeah. I got in contact with her and she wanted nothing to do with me.
No, of course not. Yeah.
No, she was very sweet. She
jump.
I got started in comedy doing like writing comedy, like television pilots.
Okay.
I wanted to be a TV writer. That like I linked up with her through that and she like kind of read one of my scripts, but that was anyway. There's not a lot of people from our town who have done much.
Television pilots. So like your own ideas for TV shows?
Yeah. We would do like spec. I would do on spec like 30, 40 pages at a time. I have maybe like half dozen different ideas. And then I couldn't get anybody to read them. Or I got one guy who was like a writer for Andy Samberg, took an interest in one of the scripts and like passed it along to a manager, but never went anywhere.
Really?
It was during COVID. It was a political comedy. And the last thing anyone wanted to hear in 2020 was my opinion on politics.
Yeah.
Which is fair. You know, there was other people who maybe had a more valuable perspective at the time, you could argue. But he was like, it's a great script. It's just like bad timing. And then I got into stand-up because I was like, well, I want to be funny for people. And like if people won't read my shit, I'll just get on stage and read it to them. And that was kind of where stand-up came in.
Get out and say it to them.
Yeah.
The whole script was like, this is China's fault. This whole thing is China's fault.
Your words, not mine. And I hung it on somebody else. I won't say who, but no, it was very
you say.
It was about small town politics because I grew up in a small town, so it was about like the death
fun.
of small town America, basically. Yeah, and people's like kind of like harebrained attempt to turn it around.
Yeah. A lot of the times in those small towns, it's like one regime for a really long time. People don't realize that.
Yeah, and there's so much scandal in small towns too.
Yeah,
that's what people don't understand. Is you think of like the small like Riverdale style, like I don't know, like very like wholesome like Archie comic type towns. But like we had so many like there was like a half dozen teachers who molested students. There was.
In your town?
Yeah, the best, I would say the best scandal from my town was a guy, a guy killed somebody in a drunk driving accident.
Okay.
And then he wasn't kicked off the football team because his mom was fucking the coach.
He wasn't?
Yeah.
Kicked off?
Yeah, because the coach was fucking his mom on the DL. And so he was like, no, look, Sam's going to turn it around. Everybody makes mistakes.
It was an accident.
Yeah.
Literally.
Just like when I forgot to pull out of his mom last night.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes, you know.
Damn. And that kid, I mean, was she fucking the judge in the town too?
No, he went to jail.
Oh, he went to jail.
Yeah. It was
he got
crazy.
to play one more game under the Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
You're going to jail.
And then it was the prison lights, a little longest yard action for him,
like a true football player.
Yeah. He's throwing a little spousal abuse. He would have had the full treatment.
Spectrum.
Yeah. No, but he. I'm trying to remember what happened. He killed the woman. And he had this is gonna sound like the whitest story of all time.
He killed a woman and got away with it.
He had a full ride to play lacrosse at Duke University.
Oh man!
And didn't work out. Sure. Spoiler alert. But he was drunk, high, and texting. And he crossed a double yellow.
Trifecta.
And the woman he killed. You don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
In a drunk driving. Vehicular manslaughter across the board, it may be controversial to say, not great.
Pretty bad.
But this was the worst woman you could have killed. She was like a pillar of the local community, volunteers at his church, just all the just every had a family, beloved by her friends and family. And so probably had a really cute dog or something, and
but
then
can he move the ball downfield? He
was great on third down. If it was third and short, let me tell you, that's the one guy you're trusting the ball with.
Yeah.
Not the keys, but the ball.
If it was third and short and there was a woman standing there, he's getting the first down.
There's a double yellow line. And he had to slightly swerve across. He's your guy.
Damn.
But and then his dad was some prominent lawyer and got him off on everything. But there's some weird brand new law at the time in New Jersey that if you kill somebody while texting, you have to go to jail.
Whoa.
So he did 18 months in minimum security.
That's pretty good.
The bet. Yeah. But he got the shit kicked out of him.
Yo, yeah.
Somebody he was a woman or a girl who went to school kept dating him when he was in prison, and she went to visit him. Apparently he was just not in good. He wasn't doing well.
What's
wasn't
she up to now?
Man, I would love to know.
Damn. Yes.
I would love to know.
I just came back from my hometown. And same thing. You go to a bar and they're like, "Bro, your podcast."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Thanks, you red-faced fucking guinea
Irish
moron."
prick.
You went Irish, I went Italian. It works.
Yeah. Well, as I'm Irish, so I figured, keep it in the family.
Yeah. That's the thing. Talking about skeezy small towns. So Providence, Rhode Island, was at one point the third most mobbed up city in the country.
That rings a bell for some reason.
Yeah, there was a podcast called Crime Town, and the first season was all about Providence because they had a mayor. The town of Providence, or the city of Providence, had a mayor. His name's Buddy Cianci. We can look him up. He went to jail while he was mayor for burning a cigarette in a guy's eye.
That's badass.
He had the dude in his, he was interrogating him outside of the law, in his house with the chief of police and, the district attorney. And I guess the dude fucked his wife.
Okay.
And he put a cigarette out in the guy's eye and went to jail, came out, becomes mayor again.
I love this country.
Dude.
That's the most American story I've ever heard.
That's crazy.
You can go to prison in this country and come out and still be, you can still run a town. You can run a country.
Yeah.
It's people are talking about
is kind of what's going to happen.
Right. I was going to say, because with the Donald Trump thing, people are saying, he's going to go to jail and he can't be president. It's oh, no.
Yeah. Of course he can.
One of the few jobs you can get as a felon is the president of the United States. Ironically.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. So what's this say?
Vincent
Buddy.
They always have the nicest nicknames.
That's right.
A mobster, the more sweet and cute their nickname is, the more vicious and heinous their crimes are.
He was mayor twice from 1975 to 84 and again in 91 to 2002. Fuck, I was alive.
Yeah.
He was also a convicted felon. Ooh. After 4 decades in politics, he ran for mayor again in 25. I remember that.
Yeah.
2014, he died of cancer. Okay, here it is. First stint as mayor ended in 84 when he pleaded a no contest to attacking his wife's lover.
That's a gangster plea. If you plead no you did that shit.
Yeah. Of course he did.
That's no comment, Your Honor. That's.
Oh man. So a lit cigarette. He didn't do any jail time. Oh really? I thought he did go to jail.
Good for him.
Then he became a talk show host. I remember listening to that.
Dude, this is the most American story ever. He becomes a talk show host.
Look at his memoir name, Politics and Pasta.
Dude.
Oh man,
I don't know.
I
think we need an Italian president. I think that's my.
He's like a northeastern Forrest Gump.
Yeah, exactly. He's done just about everything. Italian president.
Yeah,
it's just all his
we need
cousins in the
somebody,
cabinet.
an unabashed like criminal who's like, yeah, I color outside the lines. What's it do you?
Yeah, fuck. I mean, Trump is pretty close to that.
Right. He's like culturally Italian.
Yeah. He's invited to the Sunday dinner.
Yeah. He gets a bowl of Sunday gravy.
Yeah. It's the you're invited to the cookout, or you're invited to the Sunday dinner.
Yeah,
because black people and Italians are pretty similar.
There was another story that I remember. I was a journalist in college. That's like how I started writing, and I remember I did like a news blog, and I would cover like dumb stories in the news. And there was one I saw. There was a mayor. I think he was in Boston, maybe, or it was a suburb of Massachusetts, and he got impeached on like corruption charges. Ran again the next term, won, and then got arrested for taking bribes from local dispensaries.
Nice.
Because like it was when marijuana was getting legalized in Massachusetts, so there was like a whole system of like you had to get approved to get a license. So he was taking bribes in weed from dispensaries to get the license, and he was like,
"It's not even money."
They got him on like he had like a pound of weed, a Rolex, like all. They raided his house, and just it was like a rap music video.
Yeah,
and it was like he was like 27 years old or something.
Damn.
And it's like that's what happens. You let a 27-year-old guy like run a town.
Right.
He's gonna like trade favors for weed. Like
that's
what all my friends would do. Of
course.
And I'm 27.
Yeah. A 27-year-old running a town. That is what you're gonna get.
That's insane. It's gonna be like a frat house.
But what is funny is you don't want somebody that's old as fuck, which is kind of what we like.
There's a median.
It's weird.
You don't want somebody who's like a year removed from like Sigma Chi at Penn State University. You don't want that guy, but you also don't want an 85-year-old like geriatric whose brain is pudding. That's also not.
We have tons of those.
Yeah. That doesn't even narrow down who I'm talking about. That's how many. You're like, that could be like 15 people actually.
Yeah, you're like, okay, that's every high power official.
But that's
like
I don't know. I think in politics it's like everyone like pays attention because like everyone's paying attention to politics. But every job you have too, there's a guy who should have quit 20 years ago. That they just can't get him out of there. It's in everything. I used to work for a guy who was like 65, and he's like, dude, just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's with I say that all the time because like you watch. I mean, the president now. If Joe Biden was a teacher, you'd be like, all right, hang it up, Gramps. Like if you were his grandson, you'd be like, you should probably,
Well, he's the teacher that's
sit in the office.
He's getting bullied by the kids,
Those are the best.
Yeah, they're like naked mole rat looking ass, and he's like, hey, who said that?
We used to have this teacher. His name was Mr. L. In middle school, and he was a sub.
Oh yeah.
And he was just anytime you saw him, you're like, oh, we're just gonna fucking do nothing at all today.
Yeah, we're gonna ruin your fucking day.
And he was like an old Vietnam vet, but he was super old. He couldn't like see well. He couldn't hear well.
Right.
And we had one we had a kid in our class. His name was Rakim.
Yeah.
And every black person in that school was named Rakim to that guy.
Okay. They all kind of blended together.
Girl, boy, in between, and it was Rakim or Hakeem.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much every time.
Okay. Yeah, that's I mean, he took a little shrapnel in the eye in Vietnam, and they all kind of look the same to him. I don't know. That's we used to have a teacher. I won't say her name. It's crazy how comfortable you get.
Yeah.
Almost aired her out. But
well, see, I hold no ties back, so I don't give a fuck.
We bullied her not into quitting, but into getting fired.
Oh,
so many people bullied her so severely as a teacher that they fired her because like you can't control a classroom.
Yeah.
They're like kids don't respect you, so that's got to be tough.
That's brutal.
Because if you become a teacher, like a little part of you is like, I never got the respect I deserved, and like now I'm gonna like now that I'm an adult, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna show them who's fucking boss.
Nope.
And then first day they're just bullying you.
Yeah. That's what you get. Yeah, I had in high school. There were a few teachers that fucked some students.
Oh yeah,
legal ones.
Really?
Like they were 18, but just unprofessional.
Yeah, we had a few buzzer beaters. A few. Yeah, like 17 and a half. Where it's like, come on, man, you couldn't. Had to jump the gun on that one.
Yeah, there was one dude. He actually got fired from the school, but stayed with the girl.
Interesting. That's love.
Yeah, that is love.
That is true
and
love.
She was super hot, so all of us were like, hell yeah.
Lucky devil.
Speaking of kids, fucking, Have you seen the Nickelodeon stuff?
I have, yeah.
Yeah? Did you watch the whole thing?
No, because I don't think you need a documentary to know that Dan Schneider was a fucking pervert.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I wasn't like, what? The guy who trafficked exclusively in child's entertainment for decades might be a little weird around kids. That's color me shocked. Somebody pointed out the Nickelodeon logo was a foot for a while.
At one point it was.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, yeah.
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 It was at one point.
It's not anymore?
Well, I think they just switched it to like an orange splat.
Yeah. Now it's just an orange outline of an NDA. That's the logo.
Yeah. It's just Ariana Grande's 14-year-old puss.
Yeah.
Covered in the slime from the.
That's what the
Kids'
slime
Choice
was,
Awards.
actually. That's what the slime in Nickelodeon was.
Yeah.
I got slimed once.
You did?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about? Do you want to?
Yeah. I'll open up about
Do you want
it.
to tell your story?
Me too.
No, is that like was it Universal Studios?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they do like a little performance, and then sometimes they pull a kid on stage and they just fucking dump slime on you.
Oh man, what did it smell like?
It smelled like rubber,
Okay.
and it was
Yeah,
very
kind of like
warm.
chlorine almost.
It was really warm,
Chloroform. Like.
and it stuck in my hair all day.
It's really salty and
Yeah. It's just Dan Schneider's cum.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I was sort of walking that one.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. Drake Bell just getting piped down.
Well, he had accusations for a minute there, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And people are like trying to defend him, like, well, it didn't actually happen, but like, she was 12, and you were like, what? This is very Chris Hansen.
Yeah,
That's
if that's like your if that comes up in the allegations, the sentence, well, she was 12.
Yeah.
I don't think it's looking good for you.
Right.
That's
nothing else you can say.
Yeah.
It's not like we were just talking on the phone.
That's weird too. Like that was the
Yeah.
Drake and Millie Bobby Brown of everyone's like, well, he was just like texting a 16-year-old. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's worse.
That's pretty bad.
To not be trying to fuck a kid, just hanging out with a 16-year-old, you're even creepier.
Yeah. Just thinking
Yeah.
about it. Like, we can go to Pinkberry.
Yeah.
Just doing 60. We can go to the mall.
Just like, what kind of boys do you think you're
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude? My sisters are like, I have a sister who's 19. And like, I would never like hang out with her friends. That's the weirdest shit ever.
Yeah. It's a weird gap. I did when I was in Connecticut last year. I was hanging out with a 20-year-old.
You're like, I did fuck a 14-year-old.
I did fuck a 14-year-old. That's why I moved here to get away from
This might
it.
be an inopportune time to bring it up, but
Yeah,
there are some allegations.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting on this. I'm like, wait, what? You're accused of what? I'm not on. I'm on this.
Yeah, I
Full
had to.
disclosure: I am involved in some legal action currently.
I had to flee New London because of the
Start the podcast with like a Megan's Law disclaimer. Now, just to let you know, I am legally required to tell you I am a registered sex offender.
Yeah. Now that you're in this room, it's just a pre-roll to the show.
The door. You have one of those buttons like that guy from NBC that locks the door while people are still in it.
Yeah.
Who is that guy again? Matt Lauer.
Matt Lauer.
Matt Lauer. Yeah.
Was that the dude? He used to be on the Today Show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't the one that got in trouble, right?
Oh, he got in trouble.
He got in trouble. Okay, he was the bad
He had a
one.
rape button, a button that like you would push it and it would lock the door while you're inside the room.
Wow.
And I've always wondered, what was the guy installing that button thinking?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
like,
in case somebody robs.
Yeah. It's like like a panic button in a bank,
Lock
but the
guy in there
panic
with
is that
you.
the woman might say no.
Yeah. She might run for the window.
Yeah. It's like, can you bolt these windows down too? I know it's the third floor, but you could probably survive a fall from this height. you know?
It's just a couple busted ankles. She'll run off anyway.
Yeah.
The adrenaline. So
Circling back.
yeah. This is how we get comfortable. So,
You're editing this, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Producer.
Hashtag leave it in.
You're going to cut the part where I said I was a sex offender, right?
That'll be the clip, actually. I think.
Yeah, no, please. And I just shaved this mustache.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what do you like writing the most? It seems like you've done a bunch of different forms of writing.
That's
Do you like long form stuff? Do you like just writing jokes?
It's interesting. I think long form is kind of like a battle, where you're like long form. If I'm writing like a 30-page script and I kind of already know where I'm going with it, I have like the outline and everything, all the pre-writing done. That's when you like lock yourself in a room with a bottle of whiskey, a bag of mushrooms, and really just go to town.
Is that how it goes?
Well, you kind of like you're fighting because you don't you're not supposed to write 30 pages. You're not supposed to spend like 8 hours writing like an entire story from scratch.
Right.
Your body starts to like fight back at a certain point. So that's like a very much like a marathon almost, where it's like I am like fighting to see like, can I like, you know, break that like second act turn? Can I break this scene while I'm like fucked up and I've been writing for 6 hours and I'm like, you know, can I get there? It's kind of like, I don't know, like a marathon is the best way to like describe it. So that's like fun, but you wouldn't want to run a marathon every week, you know?
Gotcha.
So like one of like a couple times a year to like really sit down with the project and dive in is a ton of fun. And I love like getting lost in something, but I most of like 90% of my writing is like bits, I would say. Like I just like writing like a minute of a joke for stage, because I'm stand up is like the thing I'm hooked on right now. So that's like the most relevant. It's hard for me to write if it's not something that's gonna like people are gonna see or whatever. And that's where I got with like writing pilots. Is like, well, like some nameless person in this competition, this festival, or some like office somewhere is gonna read this like halfway and then throw it in a pile with a bunch of other dog shit scripts. And it kind of takes away the fun of like creating it. Where I love stand up because it's like I can go say this tonight and see people's reaction live, and it just feels so much more immediate and relevant. Yeah,
for sure. It's an immediate gratification thing. I mean, they're obviously two different things because writing is just a part of stand up.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just a fucking writer, then writing, 8 hours a day or every other day or whatever the fuck makes a little bit more sense. Whereas a comedian, you can write like an hour a day, and then the other 2 or 3 hours have to be you going to mics or doing whatever the fuck it is.
Are you one of those I write every day kind of comics?
No, it's fucking.
I don't.
No, I mean I like to. I'll say this: I probably don't write something funny every day.
Right.
But as far as like a writing exercise, I will like journal just to write something.
Okay.
Because I think you and I have actually spoken about this. Like it's kind of the same thing with a podcast where if you miss a couple mics, it's like, oh, okay, I did a podcast. I was still kind of working the muscle, being funny and speaking and shit.
Yeah.
Where it's like if I write shit that isn't necessarily funny, it could help me later on down the road when I'm writing something that's trying to be funny.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think there's like a place for like earnest writing too. I'm bad at it. I'm like, I can't be earnest. That's like why I got out of like because I would write like I started writing 60-page like dramas for scripts, like hour-long drama television shows.
Really?
And I just was like, I don't know. Like now with like Succession and like shows like that where they're like this like drama comedy blend, it's becoming more like normal to have a dramatic show with like elements of comedy like interspersed in there.
Yeah.
But even then, like I was really bad at just doing all serious. Like I always got to a really serious moment and I wanted to add it like a tension release somewhere.
Yeah, like a dumb joke.
Yeah. I couldn't help myself because that's just like how I cope with shit in real life. Like I'm a very like laugh through it kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, what's the alternative? Be a fucking
suicide.
Pussy? Yes. Cry
Eat
about
the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But this Sopranos kind of did a little bit like you could watch a Sopranos episode and laugh.
One of the funniest shows I think that's ever been on television is The Sopranos.
Yeah.
There and even too just like and this might just be because I grew up around like a lot of like Italian Americans from New Jersey. But it's like it's almost like a lampoon of their culture.
Yeah.
Like it's not like making fun of them. Like obviously it pays homage to a lot of, but there are like little like subtle digs. In there, and I like it is funny. Like it's a very funny show that's also very serious and like poignant. I don't know. It's like it is probably one of the best shows of all time.
Yeah,
so
probably.
It's hard to like. That's what always they tell you when you're like because when you're pitching shows, you gotta do comps. You know, which like it's this meets that or whatever. You know what I mean?
Wait, what? What is it?
It's a comp.
What is that
comparison?
Mean? Oh, okay.
So like if you're pitching, like if you write something from scratch, it's hard to like you can do like the log line or whatever, which is like this happens and then this happens, like the very like a 1-sentence summary of it. But if you're like pitching to somebody, you want to be able to like paint a picture for them. So you're like, oh, it's like Curb Your Enthusiasm meets whatever, you know, or like you pick two shows and this meets this, and they always tell you never pick like. Don't say it's Breaking Bad meets The Sopranos because those are two of the best shows of all time. And you're like, I'm trying to do that. It's like, everyone's trying to do that, dummy. Like that's the standard. So
it's like going to Shark Tank and people are like, my company's worth $50 billion.
Yeah. It's the next Apple.
It's the next Apple.
Probably not. You'd like it to be, but you know, if everybody, everyone can't be the next Apple.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing about The Sopranos is the more you watch, like obviously it romanticizes those guys and it romanticizes that life, but the more you watch it, you're like, These guys are just like scumbags from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Legitimate.
I knew people who like the only difference between them and Tony Soprano is they didn't
kill people.
No, they just didn't have a racket going on. They weren't making any money.
So they did kill people.
Well, no, I don't. They probably didn't kill people either. They might have done better if they did. You know, it might have served them better to get their hands dirty.
Sure.
But no, like there was just people who like I have an Italian landlord right now who is as much of a criminal as anybody on that show. She's just never picked the gun up herself.
Yeah,
you know. Won't fix my fucking oven.
Really?
That cocksucker.
She's got a fucked up oven?
Well, she does this whole thing where she's like, ever since my husband died, I don't know. And you're like, shut up, bitch, and fix the fucking oven. Yeah. I'm too broke to make frozen pizza. Do you know how that feels?
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine telling your husband when he was alive that the oven's broken. Yeah. You're Italian.
I'm like, you're lucky he's not alive. He put your head through that fucking wall.
Yeah.
And this is a pre-war building. That's no easy task.
Yeah,
you really got to put some force behind that.
Deservingly so.
I tried to hang a poster on that wall. I couldn't even get a nail through there. He would have put your skull right through that fucking... Yeah. Anyway.
Those filthy guineas.
Yeah. You're going hard on the Italians.
I'm half Italian. So
okay, I was hoping so.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'm just over here.
I'm Puerto Rican. I just don't like them.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely fuck with Italians.
No, they're still on the menu.
Yeah, you could pretty much do it.
Irish, Italian.
Yeah. Whites,
Polish,
really. Just white people.
The dirty whites. You can still...
The off-whites.
Yeah. The beige.
Yeah, very true. So, did you go to school for...
Journalism.
Okay, for journalism.
Yeah.
Got you. And what kind of... You wanted to do, like, political journalism?
I wanted to be like Hunter S. Thompson. We were talking before. The first story I ever wrote was...
He went to college.
He did, actually. He
did.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I know he was in the military.
Yeah, he went to... I think he went to, like, 2 years of college or something, and then I think he, like, studied... He, like, did one of those things you usually like, audit classes where you, like, sit in and, like, you don't, like, pay for it. You just, like... do school anyway.
Okay.
I
sounds like the right move.
Yeah, I wanted to like cover cool shit. Like it was back in the mid 2000s. Like I graduated college in 2019.
Okay.
So it was the height of like Vice, you know, where they would like
when it was cool.
Yeah, cool Vice, where they would go like, oh, this guy sells like, you know, counterfeit boner pills or something, and we're gonna do a fucking 2-part exploratory documentary on that. Like I wanted to do like investigative journalism. And so in my journalism 101 class that you take as like a freshman, the first piece that I wrote was like how drugs got on college campus, because everyone else was doing like frat fashion week and like all this like bullshit, and I came in with the heavy hitting muckraking journalism that I thought that class
Upton
needed.
Sinclair.
Yeah, and I was like, I interviewed my friend who was a coke dealer.
Nice.
I interviewed like state troopers, cops.
Sick.
Like people all over campus and stuff, and I was like, because it was right when the dark web was starting to pop off, and like Silk Road was becoming a thing.
Gotcha.
So I put together this whole story about how the cops didn't know about Silk Road. They thought it was all coming, like through like the shipping lanes and like from like, you know, Baltimore, New York, Pittsburgh, all those like drug channels, and really it was just like some frat guy shipping rocks of cocaine to his dorm room through the mail. Like we literally would ship bricks of weed to like the college, like the dorm mailroom our freshman year.
They just had no clue.
They had no clue.
Yeah.
Now then, they eventually raided our room and they found it.
When
and
your
then
news story fucking came
then
out.
they had a clue.
Yeah.
Once they found the weed under my bed, they're like, where'd you get this from, buddy? I'm not telling.
The old road.
Yeah, I ain't no snitch. But that's the other thing is the Silk Road kind of killed snitching, because then it's like, I don't know. It's like, you know, the plug 420 is who it came from. You don't know who it came from. Right. You don't even have anyone. You're like, I came from Amazon, basically.
Yeah. It came from just where, you know.
Yeah.
Walmart.
So I was in college during like the height of that shit, and so I wrote a piece on it. And my professor was just like, "What the fuck is wrong?" She's like, "This." She was like, "That's great." She gave me I got like 100 on it. She gave me an A, but she's like, "Just so you know, like, you don't have to go that hard in the paint. Like, you can just write like."
You went too hard.
Yeah, you can just watch like the next like presidential debate and get me 500 words and still get an A.
Yeah.
I appreciate your 2,000 words on the drug trade, but maybe take 10% off. It's a fucking 101 class, you psycho.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do, and then I did 4 years of journalism in college, like student reporting and stuff. I like interned with like an investigative outlet, and then I moved to Denver to be a reporter and make $30,000 a year. And about 6 months in, I was like, "This is stupid.
This fucking blows."
Yeah, this is a really bad career choice.
What were you reporting on in Denver?
Oil and gas.
Fires all day?
It was energy reporter, so oil and gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oil and gas. That sounds like
very unfun. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a journalist job. It sounds like I'm a fucking electrician. I work for oil and gas.
Kind of. Yeah. It was like the mergers and acquisitions and like the business side of it. So it was like business reporting, but it sucked. And then
Thompson.
Yeah, and I was like, this is not really what. There's a lot less LSD, and
I want to do drugs.
Yeah, I was like, I just want to do drugs and write. Yeah, that's what I figured out about 6 months in. Then I switched to politics because I was like, the journalism is very political, and I was like, well, I'm gonna write political shit. I'm just gonna do politics, and then I did that for like a year and a half. Quit. And then I started the podcast. I've had a lot of dumb career decisions. I've had a lot of dumb ideas for what I want to do with my life.
No, those are all cool ideas.
I guess so. None of them worked out yet, but I'm fingers crossed. How many views do you say you get on this thing?
not enough to help you, buddy.
Would you say your metrics were like?
Okay. Have you ever done anything on? Have you heard of Substack? Substack's a great place for independent journalism.
It came a little bit too late for me. I was already kind of like fuck journalism by that point. I already moved on to like, I don't know, probably because once I got into the entertainment side of things, I think what I always wanted to do was like storytelling. Gotcha. And then once I got into like writing scripts and then eventually telling jokes, I was like, oh, this is what I thought I was doing with journalism. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I was like, this is like right muscles, wrong way to use them. And then like once I started doing all the entertainment shit, it kind of came together. I was like, oh, this is what I was supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, I was close, but
because in a sense, writers are, yes, entertainers in a way, not like performance entertainers.
Yeah.
But especially when you're a fan of someone like Hunter S. Thompson, who's just entertaining as a guy.
Right.
I can see where you'd get like the lines kind of blurred.
Right.
Totally. Have you ever seen the video? There's the coolest video ever. I always talk about it on here, but it's Hunter S. Thompson interviewing Keith Richards. Like in some hotel room.
Yeah, I've seen clips. I haven't watched the whole thing.
I think there is. There's probably only clips because they just get fucked up. If I had to assume.
Yeah, I've seen. It rings a bell. Like I've seen portions of it. Definitely. Yeah. I've seen a lot of his interviews. I've like read all his books, and I'm a big fan, big nerdy about him. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew a dude that was from Vegas, and he had a Gonzo fist tattooed on his fucking arm.
That's cool.
But he had to leave Vegas because he was a raging alcoholic, which is why he ended up in Connecticut, where I was living.
Okay.
He was my boss, oddly enough.
Interesting. Because you're a restaurateur, right? You're in. Yeah.
I love it.
No, it's funny because on my podcast, the guy I did it with, he was his mom owned a restaurant, and he was like did the grunt work for that. So
really?
I have like a lot of like proximity to it, but I've never actually worked in service myself. I was a lifeguard,
It fucking blows.
Yeah, I've heard.
Blows. You said it like I enjoy it. Like a restaurateur.
It's cool to me because it's one of those like grass is greener things. Because I've worked like a lot of like other kinds of shitty jobs, and so like when I'm sitting in like an office somewhere, just like filling out spreadsheets, I'm like, oh, the idea of doing cocaine in a walk-in freezer seems fun right now.
Sure.
Yeah, but I then going to have to like take someone's order at a table afterwards would probably weigh on me. Yeah. Just like the spreadsheets do. But in the moment, you're like, well, anything sounds better than this.
Well, the best part about working as like a server or a bartender or something is it works best if you're doing something else. Like if you're a fucking comedian or you're
you're
doing
like
something else.
Yeah.
Because you can work 20 hours a week and make the same amount as someone working 40 doing spreadsheets and shit.
Yeah. Boy, do I know.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people. That's why I'm jealous is because like it's a different kind of work.
Yeah.
What I do is like I have like a day job now, and it's like more consistent but like lower impact. Like I'm always on the clock, but then I don't like do much when I'm when I'm actually there.
Right. You're just logged in.
Yeah.
Yeah. The remote work seems to be the way to do it.
Yeah, I won't go back to an office. I exclusively work remote now.
I worked in an office for about 6 days. Horrible.
Yeah,
a bad office too. Like not like a lively office.
They're all bad. There's no like, dude, this place fucking rocks.
I don't know about that because my buddy works for a media company, and he invited a bunch of us to his office. Because all they had free booze, and on Fridays everybody just gets fucked up.
the benefits of it, and when I worked in politics, we had a lot of this. Is
Really?
like if you have an expense account and you're like traveling for like sales or politics or anything where you got to schmooze, it's kind of like in the company's interest to show people a good time.
Right.
So you get the card, they go, look, like these people have to have fun, and they just kind of like cut you loose. And like when I worked politics, they sent us to Vegas with like all expenses paid.
Yeah.
We were in the Mandalay Bay, fucking right where my boy Paddock popped off.
Nice.
We were there, and this was like right around. They hadn't even mopped the blood up yet, and we were like. We were there having like a little like political conference, and
People get shot outside.
No, but I almost hurt myself other ways.
Really?
Yeah, drank a lot and just Hookers. Everyone like, because I worked with a lot of people who were like Gen X, like 40, like 35 to like 45 kind of era. I like have kids, but are like still like not totally over like the partying phase kind of thing. Like reluctant parents.
Yeah.
So you'd send them on a business trip. They start to let the tie down a little bit, have a few cocktails. Everybody brings you. You never see them smoke at the office, but then everybody has a pack of cigarettes when they're traveling.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't have to go back to your
That is
bitch
funny.
wife and have her smell it on your breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You'd never like to see me have fun.
Yeah.
Just breathing.
Right. So it was a lot of that. It was a lot of like free shit and like like just being cool places. Like you'd be like, oh, like I'm in a room with a bunch of governors, and that's kind of interesting.
That is a bunch of drunk governors.
We went remote because of like, what'd you say?
A bunch of drunk governors.
Yeah.
Gambling drunk governors.
Yeah, it is. Dude, they're just like us.
Oh yeah,
except they kind of lack a human soul and the warmth behind their skin that most people have. But other than that, really, they like prostitutes and gambling just as much as the rest of us.
Their eyes are like reptile eyes.
Yeah.
Just
If you snap, their eyes kind of go in different directions for a second. Yeah.
For sure. That's wild. Just hanging out with a bunch of those high-level people in Vegas.
They're very boring, though, just to be honest.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. You'd think it'd be like...
So they weren't super high level, and they weren't...
Nah, they were like...
bringing the kids
just
around.
Governors.
Yeah.
A couple of them made presidential runs.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, Steve Bullock from Montana, he in 2016 tried to run. Doug Burgum from He's an interesting guy. He's like the king of North Dakota.
Doug Burgum?
Yeah, he was a president. He tried to primary Trump, I think. It didn't work out. Does not have the steez.
No, of course not.
Yeah, nobody does. But he he's like the king of North Dakota because you need like he just sold like a company to Microsoft and made like I got a couple $100 million, ain't nothing, but that's all it takes to rule North Dakota.
Sure.
He has like a big tower that he lives in. He's like a Batman villain. It's actually kind of cool. When we worked with him, nobody could talk to him. There was a guy that was orbiting him, this big ginger fuck, and you'd have to like go through him to talk to the governor.
Whoa.
And you would say something to him, you'd whisper in the governor's ear, the governor would say something back, and he'd come back.
Oh my God.
So he was the only guy that I was like, oh, I think he might actually have like aspirations.
Yeah.
But then you meet like the governor of like Idaho, and you're like, this is just the guy with the biggest farm.
Yes.
In this state.
Yeah. He just calls everyone buddy.
Yeah.
And they like him enough.
Right.
Like,
and he's like kind of just a dumb guy.
Yeah.
Who's like, like comes from like a family of prominent businessmen kind of thing. And
gotcha.
Yeah.
But this other dude was like, he had like a struggle as a kid.
Yeah.
And he thinks about it still.
He was one of the ones that was like, I could see him slitting a few throats.
Yeah.
He could go pro.
Well, that's like Putin. Like you ever hear his story as a kid, it's horrible.
Yeah. I've never heard his story.
Oh, man. He was pretty much fucking left in a box.
I would imagine it wasn't great.
Yeah. He's like, they just dropped him off somewhere.
And look at him now.
And as like an 8-year-old, he was already learning how to be a fucking killer. Like he was in the military doing
But
shit.
Is that just Russia, though? Is that just how in elementary school they're just like, okay, and this is a necktie. This is a Columbia necktie.
This is a garrote. This is how you get. This is chicken wire. You get this behind the.
No, you want to go a little higher right there. Yeah. The goal is to break the neck, not cut off. You want to break it, not just cut off.
You ever watch The Godfather with Luca Brasi? He gets choked out. He swallows his cigar. That's how you want to do it.
This is a controversial. I've never watched The Godfather.
Really?
I watched about half of it on a plane. I fell asleep, and I was I get it.
Yeah,
I get the gist.
It's mafia shit.
Yeah. I don't know that one. I know that's like, because I'm a big television nerd, but I have like no culture when it comes to films.
Okay.
So people are surprised of like I've never seen like a lot of the classic movies and stuff.
I'm in the same boat.
Okay.
Yeah, The Godfather. I because I'm fucking
Right, 'cause you're half
I'm
Italian.
a Ginzo, so
yeah,
we
you
gotta
have
watch
to.
that. It's like as a baby they just put that on. You know how like as a baby they say put on Mozart.
Right.
Makes you genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. For us, it's
Put on,
like
yeah.
put on The Godfather.
Put a bunch of Scorsese movies.
My
So
parents
he learns how to say the N-word.
Yeah, exactly. My parents' wedding song was the Godfather theme.
Dude, that's the most greaseball shit I've ever heard.
And my dad's not even Italian. He
Was
just
it
like,
dude, it was chafing dishes at the wedding. A lot of pastas.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Nice Italian wedding.
I-
Was it Connecticut you said, your parents?
No, I'm from Rhode Island.
Oh,
I
from Rhode
lived
Island,
in Connecticut
okay. All right.
for a year.
Yeah, because that's like a big like New Jersey, like Connecticut, Long Island kind of that like big like catering hall wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This wasn't a big catering hall, but I remember. I mean, I was there, but I was like in my mother.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Get it? Everyone was in my mother. Hey,
There we go.
Stay getting puss. Yeah, no, I remember seeing some of the videos, and I'm like, this is like some of the most small town white trash shit.
Yeah.
You know, fake big time
Mm-hmm.
type deal.
yeah, because that's like if you're like white trash, they oversell it.
Yeah.
You want to try. The thing about being white trash, you want to look like you're
Yes,
doing well, but
that's
you're
right.
not. And then rich people go the other way. Well, they'll look like they're doing shitty.
Yes.
Like you see those billionaires walk around like fucking like white t-shirt and like gym shorts or whatever, because they want to look like a normal person.
Right.
Because I think they're probably insecure about it. You know, about being like. It's probably
mega genius.
yeah.
Or mega
Dude, look, billionaires go through a lot. All right.
Yeah. It's tough for them.
Yeah.
All of us always scrutinizing them,
Yeah.
telling them they're pieces of shit.
Everyone's always saying,
They're
eat
people.
the rich, eat the rich. It's got to weigh on you.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
exactly. It's like you know, being LeBron James and
Right.
going to Boston and everyone's
Right.
shitting on you.
But instead of going to Boston, you're going to an island in the Caribbean and
Yes.
having sex with children.
Which does happen. Speaking of that,
Okay.
Diddy.
Yeah.
Diddy's on a fucking in the Caribbean right now.
Right. No, he's in Africa actually.
He went to Africa.
Yeah, he went to.
He's gonna come back enlightened. He's
So
like,
is Antigua.
I'm not gonna fuck
It
anybody
was some
anymore.
Verde, I think, like Cape Verde or something. Or-
Cape Verde.
His plane went to Antigua, so. that's what I
Okay.
think
The thing
he-
I saw this morning was that he was in some island off the coast of Africa with no extradition treaty. And I was looking it up. I was like, that's a pretty fucking nice place.
Yeah.
That's not a bad ending, you know.
Yeah,
If you commit all those heinous crimes, which are bad and you should be punished,
Sure.
but to then just retire to like a tropical island,
That's pretty good.
yeah. Epstein hung himself in a
In a cell.
That's black excellence right there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein wishes he could make Bad Boys for life. You
Yeah,
know, but
totally.
he could never.
Yeah, he wishes he could have killed Biggie,
Yeah.
but instead he got a lot of other people killed,
Yeah.
or almost did.
Almost.
You know?
Well, I think there's. I don't know because Ghislaine's still kicking, right?
She
She's
plays
still
like
out there.
racquetball in jail. She's
Yeah.
hanging out. She's
Well,
doing
she
okay.
kept her mouth shut.
Yes,
That's sweet. That's
she
the
wants to
key.
stay alive.
But I think that's why they whacked Epstein, so they wouldn't have to kill anybody else. Because you kill him, and you got like, hey guys, take notes.
Mhm.
That's what happens if you get too mouthy.
Well, that's like that Bill Hicks bit back in the day where he talks about
You call me a hack?
become exactly where he talks about the new president, and he's like, whenever they elect a new president, they bring him in a dark room in a theater, and they just show him the JFK footage, the JFK assassination footage from an angle that you've never seen.
Right.
And he's like, well, any questions? Like, yeah.
Well, I think might be a controversial statement. But do
Yeah.
you think we're due for another one?
Assassination?
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you're starting to feel
There's
like
not a
cling
lot
to
of
the
them.
air. It's like
too
when it's
hard
gonna.
now.
You think it's hard?
Yeah, it's just so fucking hard.
Is
to do
that
now.
I don't because that's what everyone always says is like, oh well, there's like security cameras now, but it's like
Yeah.
I don't know, like you think if the amount of people who hate Biden and Trump, you know, on either side, the people that hate both of them, like somebody's not even trying, nobody's even taking a run at them yet.
Yeah.
That's why I think is the
And they're
best
so easy.
evidence
They're
that
old.
JFK was like it was a conspiracy is the fact that there's been so many shittier politicians since, and nobody's even. I guess they kind of tried Reagan, but that was a weird, like he was trying to impress Jodie Foster or something.
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
That wasn't like a political hit job.
Is that really what it was?
I think
dude
so,
was
right?
trying to.
John Hinckley. He thought like I mean the CIA gave him like. There's a thing
Carte
with that where
blanche.
like his brother had dinner with like George Bush Sr. like the night before or something like that. Like that's another one where it's like he killed John Hinckley Jr. killed or tried to kill Ronald Reagan because he thought like
Jodie
Foster would fuck him if he did, and it's like okay if that's not an MK Ultra flashback, I don't know what is.
That's not the chick from the Halloween movies, right? No, right? What's her name?
I
forget her name. That's not her. Jodie Foster was a singer?
She was an
forget.
actress.
She was an actress, okay.
The only thing that's coming to mind is she was the child prostitute in True Romance, I think.
Okay.
Right? Producer?
Jodie.
You guys are talking about the same person now because you said the Halloween movies and then you said True Romance.
Look up what Jodie Foster is
her.
known for.
I don't remember. She kind of.
I think
my
is she
time.
from? Now I'm fucked up. Hold on.
Jodie Foster, the people. Actress, filmmaker, born in '62. So in the set, I mean Reagan. Okay, so she was probably hot.
Before. She was hot like when he tried to.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're gonna try to get pussy off an assassination, it wasn't a bad
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's
Silence
tough.
of the Lambs. Okay, that's who I was thinking. With
Silence of the. Okay, yes.
Yeah. Taxi.
She was hot even. in there.
No, it was not True Romance. It's Taxi.
Taxi Driver. She was the little kid.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, she was the
Yeah.
She was like the girl that De Niro was trying to help in Taxi Driver.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got my.
And then
movies
you're
confused.
thinking of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. That's right.
Okay.
Which would have been funnier because, I mean, Michael Myers is a killer.
Yeah.
So if this dude succeeded, it's kind of like the same vein.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
She's got a type.
She got a type.
Yeah. But no, I think the most badass assassination was the guy who killed John Lennon.
Yeah.
Because I was reading up
Just
on
ran
that
up on him.
because of Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah.
Yeah, you thought Catcher in the Rye was like a coded message to kill.
It was literally telling him to shoot John Lennon.
Yeah.
Yeah. How come these coded messages never say anything like nice?
Yeah.
It's always something horrific.
Like Summer of Sam too. It was like the dog, the neighbor's dog.
Yeah.
Right. Although didn't that end up being bullshit? He like was trying to do it.
Yeah, the dog did not tell him to shoot anybody.
Right. right. Egg on my face. No, but wasn't it like was he lying about the dog or was he actually?
He was trying to plead insanity, but I think they did. He was insane. Yeah, I think
well,
so.
Yeah.
you could argue that there was some red flags.
Yeah. Sometimes you hear, I don't know. Sometimes you get fucked up. You think your dog's talking to you.
Yeah.
You could have just got real high.
But no, the John Lennon one was cool because, well, not cool, but depends how much you like the Beatles.
Depends how much.
I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
They
kind of went down, after.
Yeah, I was more of a Led Zeppelin guy, but
Yeah.
no, like they he shot John Lennon, and then the cop or the security guard ran up to him. He's like, "Do you know what you just did?" And he's like, "Yeah, I shot
Mark
John
David
Lennon."
Chapman.
Mark David Chapman.
But literally was just like, "Yeah, I fucking put a bullet in that." Like,
Hell
just kind
yeah.
of was like said it with his chest. I kind of respect that. You know?
Well, what a dumb thing for the cop to
They always
say.
have
Yeah.
3 names, the killers.
Yes, that is true. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey
right.
Oswald, John Wilkes
John
Booth.
Wilkes
John Wilkes Booth. Who's
There's
the guy
another
that
one.
killed Shinzo Abe?
That was
Okay.
badass too.
That's wild, right?
Made
A place
your
with
own
no
gun.
guns?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's commitment. See,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's like people are like, "Oh, that was like what 2 years ago,"
Yeah.
and they got it
Something
on
like
lock in Japan. They're very strict over there.
Yeah, they have like no
And
crime.
right? And they still bop, bop, bop.
Fucking clipped
Yeah.
him.
With like
There was
a
that Korean guy that stabbed the guy that we played it on the podcast too, right? He stabbed him in the neck.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot what that.
I think we ended up having to blur it, but we played it.
Yeah.
What do you guys' thoughts on the subway thing? The guy who got shot in the head on the subway.
I didn't even
Is
hear
that in
about
Queens this morning?
No, that was last week in Brooklyn. It was in Hoyt Schimmerhorn.
Oh, someone died.
on the A train. I was
On the what train?
On the A train.
Oh my god!
I
dude,
was
that's the
so
one
high
I
last
take.
night on the A train at that station, being like,
Whoa.
"Oh fuck, dude."
Yeah.
Dude,
is
I was
crazy to
going
hear.
from. You ever been to the G and F station, like Gowanus?
I don't think so.
It's like rock bottom.
Okay.
From SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's like there's nothing but industrial like warehouses and stuff. It's the creepiest. It's by that like Halyard's open mic.
Okay.
Yeah, I was coming back from that, and then you're just walking through like miles of like industrial. You're like, this is where people get murdered and like thrown in that
Yeah.
like dirty ass canal.
Yeah.
And then there's just like this giant like high rise subway station. You walk up this big set of stairs, and it's like way up in the sky.
Wow.
And I took that to Broadway Junction, to Hoyt Schimmerhorn to Broadway Junction, which is really just a tour of the most beautiful parts of New York
Brooklyn,
City.
Yeah.
But I was on the A train in that station where it happened.
Wow.
But
got shot in the head. Who shot him? The police.
If you pull up the article, just do like Brooklyn subway shooting or whatever.
Man.
But what happened was there was a guy who was like causing problems, and
Never. I don't believe that.
not on
Not
my
on the
subway. Not on my subway.
The National Guard's there.
Yeah,
now.
right. He was being a little goofball. He was
Yeah,
fooling
yeah.
around,
Yeah.
and he pulled a knife out on a woman.
Jesus.
Pulled a knife out on a woman, but she was Latina.
Oh,
Gotta watch out for that.
Wow.
She got the knife from him, and she stabbed him.
Oh.
And he was not thrilled about that.
Jeez.
And then, so he was like, and then there's a video that kind of starts around that point where he's young. He's like, I'll show you what I'm going to do. And he reaches into his pocket, spends about, I want to say 15 minutes trying to remove a handgun from his jacket pocket.
And she just watches.
And then there's a guy next to her who I guess knows her or whatever, or is just another person who's.
This sounds very nonchalant.
Yeah,
The situation.
he's like he's fumbling with a gun for 15 minutes, and then they take the gun from him and shoot him with the gun.
Wow.
So he ggets stabbed with his own knife and then shot with his own gun.
Damn.
And then you hear someone getting shot on the train. You're like, that's horrible. And then you hear a story. And you're like, wow, that's sort of a fool me twice situation, don't you think?
Yeah. Will not face charges for self-defense.
Yeah. Because I mean, if someone pulls a gun on you and you take it from them.
Whoa. 36-year-old man was critically injured in Thursday incident. Oh, so the guy didn't get killed.
I think he
shot
got shot in the head but survived.
with his own gun.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
But
Oh, man.
yeah.
That chick's right in.
I know. She was really, I'm telling
Fucking
you.
Martinez over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
She
don't
was
fuck with a
really.
Puerto Rican woman.
There's a lot of funny quotes, actually. I'm going to scroll down for a
Yeah.
second here.
Okay.
Where'd they go? Yeah.
The investigation.
But my only take on this is that like if you go
Yeah,
to
it was.
stab somebody and they take your knife and stab you with it, and then you're like in your head you're like, I have a gun, I'm gonna show them.
Yeah.
You really gotta be
You fucked up.
confident that you gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta get it right on the second attempt.
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
at least think like, okay, she took the knife. Maybe if I pull the gun out, she might also take that. Like that's gotta
Right.
at least cross your mind.
He fucked with the wrong chick. She was a
Right.
Green Beret.
Really?
After, imagine
Yeah.
though, after he was stabbed, the 36-year-old man asked, "Did you stab me?" Before pulling a gun from his jacket and asking again, "You stabbed me, right?"
It is at least he's confirming. He's like,
You
just
did
like
stab me.
shoot the right person.
32-year-old man then grabbing the gun from the 36-year-old. Holy fuck. Wow, right at Hoyt Schirmahorn. The worst named fucking... Look at everybody just laying down.
And it's funny in the video. They're like, "Where is the NYPD?" And it's like
good luck.
they're on their phone
Yeah.
swiping through Tinder.
They're giving a guy smoking a cigarette a ticket.
Yeah. They have their knee on somebody's neck from Bushwick who had a Modelo and
Yeah.
a brown paper bag.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Shot 4 times. He's halfway to 50 Cent.
Damn.
Yeah.
Get stay broke or die trying. This fucking guy. Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah.
National Guard to be deployed. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Right.
So it didn't even. So this happens, but the National Guard is supposed to be like
Right.
that's very.
Yeah. So that they can plant like IEDs at the emergency exit doors to
Yeah.
make sure no one beats to face. Claymore mines outside of the.
Well, there was that one chick who lost both her feet too, right? Wasn't that in Queens? She like or something.
Probably.
She fell.
I mean, there was.
stuck
I
on
was
the
trying to
third
get
rail?
home from Manhattan.
something like that. Yeah, I
third
think she
rail.
fell in, or somebody pushed. Yeah, she got
Yeah.
fell. She got falled.
She got folded.
Gravity.
She done fell down onto the
Gravity got
tracks.
her.
Yeah.
Man, I think she.
That sounds fucked up, but it's
Yeah.
kind of hilarious. You lost both your feet.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
get them chopped off.
she probably doesn't think it's.
Yeah, she's like,
It's
this actually kind of blows.
more, yeah, it's more like perspective's important on that one. I think. It's a
We're
joke
just
where
sitting here.
perspective really matters. No, I don't know. There's so many fucked up things that happen on the subway, but then I always because I always get really high before I ride the subway, and then I'm
Freak out.
like, I freak out, and then. And then nothing ends up happening to me. But then, I was trying to come home from Manhattan the other day, and then none of the M trains were running because somebody just hurled themselves in front of one of the M trains.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
I know. It's like the second time that's happened to me.
I'm like waiting to see that.
yeah.
Like I'm like wait, because some guys just they're
Sometimes you
drunk
s-
and they're
yeah.
like blah, 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 fucking
Yeah, sometimes you see somebody where you're like, all right,
Yeah.
let's watch this one. Come on.
yeah.
Ah,
That guy looks
ah.
sad.
Ah.
That
So
guy's having a
close.
bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, oh, he looks upset.
Oh man,
he looks
that's
isolated.
It just your body would like explode.
Yeah,
I think that's what would happen.
I think at full speed. Yeah.
yeah. Like
They're cleaning that off with a squeegee.
Imagine that's your job.
Yeah.
The other day, I was on a train and the fucking EMTs had to get some guy on the car over, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking be late to this open mic. I have a brand new 5 minutes, and this asshole is dying.
I've been there. I've been like, I was in Delancey Street one time, and they made announcements like, the F train will not be running to Brooklyn because somebody jumped in front, and I was like, holy fuck.
God damn it.
Oh, I'm going to Queens. Never mind. That's cool. That's fine. It struck me for half a second. I was like, no. Oh, no. Okay, I'm uptown.
Oh, yeah, we'll be good. Yeah.
I was at an open mic in Denver one time, and somebody overdosed, and there was somebody. So there's a guy on stage doing his tight five, and then the paramedics were wheeling somebody out on a stretcher, like mid set. That's a tough one.
That is tough.
Yeah,
he was killing it.
Talk about a dead room. Huh?
Yeah, that guy killed.
Yeah.
Damn, that's nuts. So obviously, the main difference I would say from doing comedy in New York and pretty much anywhere else is the frequency. Of how often you can do it.
There's a lot actually. I would say that it's an entirely different sense of humor. Like I'm more like
Denver.
Like Denver's very like cutesy,
and
like very kind of like play like puns and play on words kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's not that you won't find a lot of like political material. You'll get like the normal like eat the rich kind of stuff, but you won't get like very like
nuanced,
like esoteric kind of stuff. It's very like kind of because it's so nice there. And there's weeds. There's cheap weed everywhere you can buy. It's
mushrooms.
Great. Yeah, there's mushrooms. There's mountains and stuff. You can hike. So everyone's so happy that if you like do gallows humor, people are like, I don't get it. Like, life's great. What do you mean you want to die? It's just like it's hard to relate. And then you come here and you're like, life is hell.
Everyone's
irritated. Like, buddy, let me tell you. You know. And that's I work better in that environment. So I struggled in Denver, especially when I first started, because I wasn't like a Denver guy, and so like people like I was like an East Coast like asshole to them.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the more depraved and shitty a town is, the better the stand-up. Like the more you can go with the stand-up. Like I've been talking shit about Providence, but if you do stand-up in Providence, you'd be fine. Like nobody has anything going on in a place like that.
Great,
or
like I have nothing going on either.
So
I'll fit right in.
Yeah. I'm sure it's similar to fucking New Jersey where you're from, where you can probably go up there and talk about fuck this guy.
Yeah, you just say the F slur a bunch and talk about Italian food. That's basic.
That's it.
I've only done like a couple weeks because I started comedy in Denver. I moved out to Denver, and then I've only been doing it like 2 years. So. It was all out there, and then I did like a week of open mics in between Denver and New York and Jersey when I was staying with my folks. But most of my comedy has been either Denver and New York. Yeah. It sounds like Denver. It makes sense because it seems like a place where people are very healthy as well. Yeah, big. But something you notice about minor scenes is like you get a lot of people who do it casually. Because open mics I don't want to say fun, but some of them can be there. Yeah. Because you get audience at the open mics there. Yes. Because there's not, in New York, there's so much to do. Why the fuck would you go to an open mic? Yeah. But in Denver on like a Tuesday night, there's not a whole lot going on. So people will go to the open mic just to watch. And so it's a great place to start in that sense, because like you actually get to like do your comedy for people instead of just other comics. Yeah. But it's like, you can just kind of fuck around with it, and you have people that come to like 3 or 4 open mics a month, and they got like their buddies, and they just sort of like all the mics are a hang there. Everyone drinks and smokes weed, and like you don't like a lot of people who are like aren't as serious about it maybe. So that's like one of the big things that struck me of like when I got to New York is like everyone here grinds, and it's like everyone here is so funny. Everyone here works so hard. Like you could really in like those smaller scenes, then you can really separate yourself with like, oh yeah, I have a lot of ambition. I hit as many mics as I can a week. Like I know joke structure, and I've developed a voice or whatever. That can like you're like one in like 1 in 10 there or whatever. You're like 1 in a million in New York. You know what I mean? Yes. There's just so many more. Yeah, and the smaller scenes is a lot more hobbyists. Yeah. There's people who are like, I have a job. I do these open mics like twice a week. Right. I do a show a month. Right. I bring my fucking fat family. Yeah. Everyone gets a meal and they watch me tell fucking jokes. The idea of like bringers. Yeah. Or like barking would fucking blow people's mind out there.
Really?
Yeah, where they'd be like bark. Like, what do you mean you have to like?
Sell?
Because we used to like bark open mics. We would stand outside the open mics and just get drunk on the front porch and just try to get random, because it was right by the where the Rockies played.
Okay.
So there'd be like drunk people walking late at night. So we would just yell, like, "Hey, come see a comedy show!" And sometimes you would get like 15, 20 drunk fucking people and like pack out a room with like drunk sports fans and put on almost like an impromptu show.
Yeah.
So it was cool in that sense, but then like this ceiling is really low of like, you know, the headliners in this are doing the same bar shows just like, you know, people like me were. So it's just like, if you want to like make it at that next level, I think you have to go to like New York, LA, and kind of Austin now too.
Yeah. Austin. It seems like they. I still just don't think that there's any place that has the volume that New York has when it comes to stand up.
I'm so biased too because I'm an East Coast guy, so I'm just like, New York's the greatest city in the world, and just that's the way it is. But I do think if you want to get good at something, like if you want to get famous, you could probably have more opportunity in LA.
Right.
If you want, I don't know, if you want to like if you're like a certain kind of comic and you want to get in with like. There's like a scene. If you get plugged into the scene in Austin, I think things can happen for you.
For sure.
With like Kill Tony and The Secret Show and stuff. Like I've heard of people that are like a few years in. Like there's that one guy that everyone throws his name around. I forget who.
Cam Patterson.
Yeah.
I'm not retarded, but I like rocks.
Right.
Yeah.
He's been doing like what, like 3 years or something like that?
I think less. If I'm being honest.
And now he's like my experience level, but then like obviously is way further ahead because he got plugged into that whole scene. But it's very cliquey from what I understand down there, and so
probably.
Like if you can maybe kind of make waves in that sense, or like you can go out to LA and try to get a manager and try to do the store or whatever and like get your name out that way. And that's more if you want to be like an actor or you want to like have a sitcom one day or something. But I think if you just want to get good and funny, like New York is the only place to do it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you can't hit like 20, 25 mics a week in Austin.
And most of the people that you talk to are trying to do a similar thing. Mm-hmm. So it is motivating. It's a lot of like-minded people doing the same shit.
Yeah, I could never live in Austin for that reason because everyone there's just trying to get drunk and eat.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's a great city, but it's like, dude, I couldn't be taking something seriously and have to walk by some fat pig on 6th Street stumbling in like a brisket and Tito's coma, you know?
Yeah.
So
just shoving down. At least over here we have decent people.
Yeah.
You know,
good, honest folks who shoot people in the head on the A train. They get mouthy.
But at least they're not. At least they're not fat pigs.
Yeah, we got a Puerto Rican bitch that'll stab you if you get too fucking handsy on the A train. Real people, real fucking human beings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
These fucking phonies from LA.
Well, everyone says. I mean, I've never been to LA, but
I haven't either.
Everyone says that it kind of sucks in the sense that everyone's out there kind of for their own benefit.
Yeah, and you're not just fighting comics, you're fighting actors, you're fighting like writers, you're fighting anybody who wants to be in entertainment, because if you get a manager out there, they're going to make you do everything.
Right.
If you're a hot chick, they're going to make you act, they're going to make you model, they're going to make you do stand-up, might make you suck dick, they're going to make you do a lot of things. Yeah. And like, you got to play the game. It's all like, and so like New York I think is more of a meritocracy. You do still have to play the game, I feel like, but this is like more so than anywhere else I've been. It feels like hard work does kind of pay off a little bit, and if you're like good and talented and you like do the right shit here, I'd like to think it works out for you. Maybe that's everywhere, but
also it's everyone here realizes how annoying it is to live here.
Yeah.
But they all understand the trade-off.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you get access to everything all the time, always. Right. So it's like people inadvertently almost, I don't want to say live for each other, but there's almost like a big community in New York because everyone's like, fuck, it's raining, I gotta get on the subway, I gotta sit next to a fucking crackhead.
There's like this shared like catharsis almost of like it's like where people will like hold the emergency exit door open for you on the when you're getting into the subway, you know what I mean? Or like so many times I've seen people, the door is closing, someone like holds it open for a stranger and shit, and people will like break the rules on your behalf because like we're all getting fucked, we might fuck back a little bit when we get a chance. Like that's kind of the attitude here of it. Is like there's like this community of like, it does suck, everything's so expensive, there's random fines for like, you throw your garbage out at the wrong time, they're gonna hit you with a fine. Like you're walking down this, you're vaping on the subway, you're gonna get a fine. Like all this is like bullshit of like 90% of the time nothing happens, but then you just get unlucky and just like I remember I was out drinking one time, we had a bunch of like beers on us, my buddy had a bunch of coke on him, and there's a group of people right in front of us, and cops just rolled up on them, gave them a bunch of tickets, patted them down and stuff. If they would have gotten us for the same shit, but we were just lucky that night. And I think like living in New York, you start to get that, like you understand like like if I'm just getting lucky. And, like, you know, if somebody's having a bad day, they're just getting unlucky. And there's just this kind of thing of, like, more like community, I guess.
Yeah, for
people
sure.
get it, I think, is the best way of, like, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like, you see someone having a meltdown, you're like, I get it. Bad day.
I'm like a bad week from that.
Yeah. Like, you see somebody, like, I've seen someone just, like, scream, like, leaning in the window of, like, a parked train, just screaming at the conductor.
Yeah.
Because another train didn't show up. Not even because there's a problem with, like, I saw, you know, in Delancey, there's the M and the J on like, either side.
Yeah.
I saw someone screaming at a J conductor because the M wasn't running.
Damn.
And I was like, I get it. I'm one bad set away from doing that in an hour. You know, I'm about to go to the tiny cupboard and bomb, and then I'm going to do that on the way home. So I get it. You know, and that's why I like about New York. It's like when you see people freaking out, or you see people like just having a shitty time, you're like, that's gonna be me before too long.
Yeah. But again, you go back to your hometown, and you're like, you guys fucking suck.
Yeah.
I'm so much better than all of you.
Yeah. Oh,
You
there's
guys-
this.
You look at your
superiority
mother in the
complex.
face, you're like,
It's crazy.
you ain't shit, lady.
Yeah. That got me in trouble in Denver.
Yeah?
Because I would go around being like, you guys know the city's fake, right?
Yeah,
It's a fucking fake ass city. You guys built 9 buildings so you could pretend like there's a real city.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, this is my home. And I'd be like, yeah, well, you got a gay ass home, buddy. Like, I don't know. And I'd just be like, this, real Italian food. And all that shit. And people were like, yeah. But it's true.
Yeah.
Go out, dude. It's a bunch of like, I don't know. It's a bunch of like,
It's like beef.
boring ass.
It's just ranchers out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a bunch of like the most like bland, like just mayo ass white people you've
Just
ever
granola
met.
people.
With no there's like no culture
Yeah.
out west in like the middle of the country.
Well, they're so far from the coasts.
Everything.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
Because that's just happened where the
Right,
immigrants all fucking
right.
came.
So
So you
there's
live in
like
the middle of the country. It's like your great-great-grandfather came here 200 years ago.
yeah.
You're so far from those fucking
Somebody
roots.
came here on a wagon.
Yeah.
And you've advanced like 10 years culturally since that point.
Yeah, exactly.
You just figured out cholera like a year ago.
Yeah,
but
you
no.
guys weren't popping since the
That's like
fucking
even
gold
dude,
rush.
Denver, like their mayor, like because there was this whole thing about pulling down. You know, like when the statue thing happened, there was a thing in Denver. They were pulling down the statue of like a guy. It was like fuck, I can't remember his name, but there's a bunch of shit named out. Or Stapleton, I think. There's like
Okay.
a mayor. There's the old airport used to be Stapleton Airport, and
Okay.
they demolished it and built a new one. And they were like pulling down a statue, and I was looking into it, and they're like, oh, well, he was in the KKK. And I was like, what? In like fucking 1850 or something?
Yeah,
it was
keep
like
it up there.
1973.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, that was recent. Okay, maybe we should get rid of that statue then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, that was my thing, is that it's just like, it's not the coasts. And then when you point that out to people who've lived there their whole life, tend to get a little salty when you're like, you picked a fucking shitty place to be from.
Yeah. Your ancestors
Yeah.
were all cowboys.
Right. And then their reference points to Sopranos.
God.
So they think I'm a piece
Just
of
a
trash
scumbag.
too. Yeah. Which I am, but like,
Yeah.
at
Just
least
on a different way.
at least I know a good fucking bowl of fucking penne alla vodka when I see it.
I can get a decent fucking bolognese where I'm
Yeah. Different strokes, I guess.
from. Yeah, for sure.
Some people like to ski, and some people like to be surrounded by the arts and cultures
By
and
shit
museums and
piss.
commerce and trade. And,
Yeah.
and some people like dance music, EDM and
Yeah.
ketamine. Different strokes.
Yeah, some people want to be around modern culture instead of this.
The greatest, artists, writers, musicians in the world, and some people want to be by Bass Nectar. That's, there's which you can do, and you can go to a warehouse in Bushwick and do that. That's what I like about New York, is like if you point to like any other, like it's all here too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've lived here for 5 months, but
Is that true?
yes, I'm talking here like I'm like a lifelong like New Yorker. I've lived here for 5 months, but I've enjoyed it thoroughly the whole time.
Yeah, it'll be a year for me in a few days, actually.
Okay, yeah, but as being from the East Coast, you kind of like I was in
You're
and
from
out.
Jersey. It's
Yeah,
fucking not that far.
I was in and out of New York all the time as a kid. So
Anytime I'd say I'm from Rhode Island, people would be like, "Oh, it's in New York, right?" I'm like, not even close.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like about 4 hours away.
done country. Where you're from? The big city, ain't you? Damn, from Rhode Island way.
Yeah, Rhode Island, where they got all them big buildings.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe one.
You have to excuse me. I'm a simple country boy. I don't-
Yeah.
Rhode Island. Is it a road or is it an island?
Is that how many roads y'all got out there? We only got about 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I come from the land of the roads now. Excuse me.
Yeah. My daughter broke her hymen on a horse. Oh, yeah, that's a real thing. I forgot who we talked about. I think it was Sesh. We were mentioning that to Sesh.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, you can totally break your hymen on a fucking horse.
If
you haven't done it yet, Sesh.
Like, hey, honey, just so you know, you could break your pussy on a horse, too.
You let the horse fuck you, it'll break your hymen right now.
We got a horse out back. It'll take care of that for you.
Yeah, this is the live portion of the podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to let you fuck a horse.
My alter ego, Mr. Hands.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how back in those days you had to, like, search for a horrible video like that, and now it's like...
Now it's like my friend's Instagram story.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's what he's up to. That's cool. Yeah.
Mr.
No,
Hands
it is.
too.
That can't be good for us. I mean, I know this is like a trite point, but like being exposed to like nonstop like ESPN top 10 of like bombings in Palestine every day. That can't be good for like the collective psyche.
I'll tell you who it's worse for. The people over there.
People getting bombed. That's true.
They're doing pretty bad.
Now who needs perspective, huh?
Yeah.
No, that's true.
It's an interesting thing because for so much of human history, we did kind of just watch horrible shit.
That's true.
Like
at least
medieval,
it's separated by a screen now. It used to be just like
some guy's getting his head chopped off in the city square. Let's all go watch.
But wasn't that was kind of like that was kind of their baseball, wasn't it?
Yeah. They're like,
that's like they're like, oh, the Yankees are playing the Red Sox. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, I guess.
They're like that guy who stole a cow is getting his head cut off. That'll be fun.
Yeah. That guy who didn't marry his sister.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to boil him.
Like
that
the witch trials.
The witch trials.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just people on drugs. You know some of the stories.
If she's not a witch, she'll be able to get out of the
bag or out of the
and
water.
swim up. And then they never swim up.
Yeah, and they're like, God, these women are all witches. It's crazy. It's
thank God we're getting rid of them.
Yeah. See, we were right. You know, there was a guy after he was like, huh? What did I fucking tell you?
Yeah.
Still down there.
How did they just decided like let's stop doing this? Is that how it came to an end? Or were they like? Were people just like, all right, this might be bullshit?
I actually heard something about this because someone was saying that it was like it just became too much of like a fad of saying, oh, you're a witch, oh, you're a witch.
Yeah.
It got hacked.
That they kind of just stopped
They stopped
doing that. It became like a fad, like almost calling someone gay. Like,
like a Karen.
Yeah.
It was like, that bitch is a Karen.
Yeah, it came similar like that. And
that's
then they
very
just stopped
interesting.
caring that if someone says witch
Yeah. They're like, man.
after all the murders.
Okay.
Well, fuck those girls anyway.
Yeah.
They weren't putting out. That's why. They're like, she's a witch. That pussy's still
you
dry.
You want to fuck me? Well, actually, guess what? You're a witch.
Bang, gavel.
So I did a study. I found out that witches don't want to fuck me. So any women that don't want to fuck me are actually witches.
Should we drown them?
You could be a witch for just about anything in those days too. If you could do math, you were a witch.
You're like, did you just divide?
Yeah.
Oh, witch.
Brought out of here.
With a fucking long division.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
It was in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Right? Or Salem?
Yeah, Salem.
Yeah, Salem, Massachusetts.
It was going on a lot of places, but Salem was the big spot.
That was the big one.
Yeah.
Where they were drinking the ergot wine.
Okay.
That supposedly is the origin story. Where
Really?
people were drinking ergot. Which
That
is
would
like
explain it.
What is it?
That would explain it.
That's what's in LSD, right? It's the precursors, ergotamine tartrate.
Yeah, it's like a fungus. It's like a hallucinogenic fungus.
Yeah. It's the fungus. I think it's what they make LSD from. So yeah, if you were tripping acid, people would be like, "Hey, fucking something's off about this bitch." Yeah. Yeah. If I met a girl on acid and I didn't know what acid was, I would kind of be like, "Are you fucking doing magic or what are you What are you muttering about over there?"
It just sounds like she's speaking some dead language, like Sumatran.
She's having an ego death, but they didn't really have they didn't have Joe Rogan back then, so
That's
they didn't.
true.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
About what's the other dude? I have his book up there. The mushroom guy, Terrence McKenna. They didn't have Terrence McKenna in those days.
Are you a psychedelic guy? Do you like?
I like mushrooms. I haven't done acid yet.
You've never done acid?
I haven't done acid.
I did a lot of acid in college, and I've done a lot of mushrooms recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some super powerful ones in there over there.
I have some super powerful ones as well, actually. What a coincidence.
Yeah, no, they're pretty. I took one like little bite because my favorite way to do them is microdose.
Yeah, I like the mini dose, the like half gram to a gram, where you're just like you're getting your feet wet.
Yeah,
but you're not like fully. Because the older I get, the more that's like with acid. The problem is like it was really fun when I was 19 and I can get fucked up for 12 hours at a time.
Yeah,
but you're like almost 30 years old. You can't dedicate a day. Because acid's not like it's not like having a 6-pack where you're like, I'll just put a movie on and hang out. Like it's a thing.
Sure.
And you can't like when you're the older you get, you can't just like turn your phone off for 12 hours.
That is true.
And just be like, I'm on drugs. Sorry. Like, that becomes like less of a valid excuse. The older, if you're 40 and you're like, sorry, honey, can't get the kids from soccer today. I'm on drugs.
I'm on acid.
Yeah. Now you don't have your kids anymore.
Yeah. Which is probably the best way to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Is to just do so much acid. Your wife's like, we gotta leave.
Yeah, that's a fun drug to get addicted to is acid.
What I hear is it's like mushrooms without the bullshit at the beginning of mushrooms.
Yeah, that's like the first 45 minutes of mushrooms are very like
you dread it. You're like,
you get that weird like pit in your stomach.
You start yawning.
Yeah, acid is the I would say the first 2 hours is like really fun. It's like I want to say it's the best because the peak is the best, but like it's really great because you're slowly, if it's good acid too, you're slowly coming up. By like 45 minutes in, you're like, I think you start giggling, you just feel like very happy, and like it's very slow too. It takes like 2-3 hours to get to like the beginning of the plateau, so it's like much more gradual. So like mushrooms, you can go from like sober to fully tripping balls in like 30 minutes to an hour.
You don't even notice.
Yeah, whereas like LSD, by 30 minutes you're barely even getting a little like twinkle. So it's much slower. So it's like getting to a pool on the stairs versus diving in. So that's why I think an acid's less emotional too. It's much more like introspective and very like, I would say like mushrooms is very like spiritual and very like, I fucking love you, man. Life's so fucking beautiful and shit. And then like acid's more kind of like analytical and more like I don't. It's hard. I haven't done it in a while, so it's kind of hard to like. But it's more. For me, it was like more peaceful. Because I'm Irish Catholic. I'm not a real emotional guy. I don't like. And sometimes mushrooms bring where I'm like, I don't like feeling that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is that like sorrow and grief? Stuff that back, grab a bottle of whiskey and stuff that back down. Whereas like acid feels more like where you're like, yes, the ideal of loss. Like it's much, you're more like disconnected from things and you view them more like, that's why where everyone gets an acid is that whole thing of like, oh, we're just like different parts of the universe or whatever. Because you do feel like very disconnected and you like lose your sense of self. So you feel this like very peaceful detachment from things. Where you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, whatever's happening to me.
Yeah.
Where I feel like mushrooms is the opposite, where you're just like, this is such an intense, like poignant experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have felt that on mushrooms where you almost feel like you're from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or you're like coming from somewhere else. And you're like,
less disorienting. Acid makes more sense to me. Yeah.
I've also heard acid is very conducive to creating shit.
Yes.
Whereas
yes.
Mushrooms, I haven't like done mushrooms and sat down and wrote anything, mainly because sometimes I've tripped on mushrooms where you can't even speak.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
get to that. Yeah.
But I've always heard acid is like, it helps you make stuff.
Yeah, I can see, like, I use it to write one. I've used both of them to write, and I've had success with both. Yeah. Mushroom is a little more practical because it's, like, 4 to 6 hours. And like, you're probably not writing more than, like, 4 to 6 hours anyway at a clip. So it's good of, like, you take it, you do the project, and then you're done. Whereas, like, when I did acid, I took it, I did the project, and I had 6 hours of acid left in there. So you got to make sure you got a lot to do if you're on acid. That's, like, my one thing that's kind of tough about it is it's not like mushrooms, you can kind of just take them and hang. And I feel like if you just hang out on acid, you're going to kind of freak a little bit. You got to be, like, doing stuff. You got to be kind of moving. Even just, like, a YouTube video or, like, music or something. It's got to be some kind of stimuli to focus on. Okay. Because otherwise you start chewing on shit. That's never good. You don't want to chew on anything.
I smoke like a motherfucker if I'm tripping.
Cigarettes or
cigarettes?
weed?
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Dude.
Yeah.
Like oxygen.
Nothing better. Chain smoking when you're,
it is nice.
The best mushroom trip I ever had was we sat on a golf course, we took an eighth and just chain smoked for like 4 hours. It was like sunset too, so we were just like watching the sun go down, chain smoking. Yeah. Just living. Living.
Yeah, that's how it was before we
Yeah.
came up with banks.
Yeah. And capitalism.
yeah, exactly. Why can't we just do plant-based drugs and fuck
Yeah.
each other in the woods?
That's true.
That would be nice.
It would be kind of cool.
Yeah. The big one now everyone wants to do is ayahuasca. That's like the
That
big.
seems a little much for me. The DMT, that's why I was a big drug guy, but I always stopped short of DMT because it's like, I don't know.
You want
How
to meet
much
the
do you
Anunnaki?
For me, it's like, how much do you want to know about yourself?
Yeah.
You know, there's like introspection and growth, and then there's like, I don't know, like just like I had a boss one time who was like a big hippie. He used to go like fish shows back in the day. We were
Yeah.
he was taking acid, mushrooms, everything, and we're like, why you never tried DMT? And he was like, well, I'm almost 40. He's like, it's too late in my life for
Change.
a life changing realization.
That's a good point.
He's like, that would do not. At this point, it would ruin my life. If I find out I've been living life wrong for the last 45 years, that would just destroy
Yeah.
everything. So that's kind of. I don't really want to know. If I'm like fucking up, I'd rather just blissful ignorance at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just doing drugs for fun now. I'm not trying to like spiritually grow.
Learn
anymore.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus it's such an investment to do ayahuasca. Like you got to go
Yeah.
to Peru or something,
Right.
and live there.
Right. It's like a rich
shit and
people
vomit at the
kinda
same
thing,
time.
I feel like.
Well, I remember telling my buddy, I'm like, dude, we should do this. And he's like, I don't know, kind of a lot of money just to go do drugs.
Right.
Yeah,
You're like, we have those here.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
in an
yeah.
airplane to get fucked up. I kind of want to try mescaline though.
Ah,
I've heard that that's cool.
Hunter Thompson.
That's
Fucking-
another, yeah. But hard to find nowadays for some reason.
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a, that's like in the same vein as like Quaaludes or something.
Yeah. I had a
In
friend
terms
actually
of-
got his hand on Quaaludes. He tried Quaaludes.
Really?
And he said, boy, are they worth the hype.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was like, come on. Like, it's whatever. It's just like a pill or whatever. And he's like, no. He's
These
like,
are
you
real
got
deal.
to understand. These were great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get the same drug, just a different name, as far as I know.
Yeah. It's like, and still sold in South Africa and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
That's the exact place that I was thinking of.
Yeah. Buddy, I've done my research. All right. As somebody who's taken his fair share of pills in his day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dropping.
That's certainly on my list. But I don't know, like, I feel like fentanyl's kind of ruined drugs.
Yeah.
There's like 5 drugs you
Scary.
can do like that safely now.
Right.
That's why I don't know. A lot of my friends are into coke and stuff, and it's like I don't really want to like
Have to
roll
stop.
the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
It's
to
like,
stop
well, you
and
just-
test it.
You just test it. It's
Yeah.
like I don't want to do a science experiment. Like that's the
Yeah,
point of
yeah.
doing drugs is to be like an irresponsible piece of shit.
That's right.
If I had to be responsible about my drug, then what am I doing
It's
this
not
for?
fun anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like, you're not sticking it to your old man anymore.
No.
You're being like,
No.
I'm afraid to die.
Yeah, that's
Shut
not
up.
cool.
Shut
Drugs are
up.
supposed to be cool.
That's
yeah,
right.
being afraid to die is not cool.
Yeah.
Watch your friend do a line. If he's still standing in 15 minutes, you're fine.
You're good.
Tee off on it.
Exactly. Find the weird guy. Find the
Yeah.
dishwasher at the bar.
Right.
Be like, here, try this.
Yeah, everyone knows like a vacuum cleaner, a
Yeah,
human trash compactor. They'll
Yeah,
put
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Hey. I almost said a name. I was like, I know what I'm talking about. Do you have a friend who's kind of like a real garbage pig?
In what way?
Like just
it might be me.
I was
might be
gonna
the
say,
one.
or yeah, it's a situation. No, but like, just somebody who like whatever you put in front of them, they're always down for a good time.
I don't think I do. I
Ooh.
need somebody though.
Yeah, I have a friend we have a lot of great stories about him, but my favorite was that he took 2 large women
Ooh.
back from the bar,
mamas.
just coked out of his skull,
Hell yeah.
and he brought them to his friend's girlfriend's place, and got to the and realized they didn't have any booze. Big problem. So he took his shoe off, propped the front door open,
Okay.
took his other shoe off, propped the front door of the building open, walked down to the street to the bodega, got a 6-pack of White Claws,
Nice.
came back, and then was just partying in his girlfriend's living room. And she's like barricaded herself in her room. She's calling the boyfriend like, who the fuck
Yeah.
is in my apartment right now? And then he eventually the girls leave. They don't fuck him. Big shock.
Damn.
And he passes out on the couch, spills like White Claw all over himself, wakes up like an hour later, writes "I'm sorry" rips a piece of the box off, like the 6-pack box, writes
Yeah.
"I'm sorry" in Sharpie, puts it on the couch, and just leaves.
Nice.
So shout out Eric.
That's a fucking animal.
If you're watching this, you know who you are.
Falls asleep with White Claw all over him.
Shout out Ricky.
Damn.
Yeah.
The best is when you're super fucked up and you just fall asleep in your clothes.
I've been, brother. Have I been there?
Fall asleep,
yeah.
right? You just face first into your bed with jeans on.
Yeah. And but then the tough is waking up the next morning and you're like, what? You waking up with your clothes. That's never a good feeling.
Yeah.
You're never like, I crushed it.
Yeah, I really got after it.
Because if you like really tie one off, but then you kind of like land the bird at the end. Like, you know, like if you're out to like 4 or 5 in the morning, but you start mixing a few waters towards the end, you get a little breakfast in you.
Yeah.
You can kind of salvage it, you know? Like you get like 6 hours of shitty sleep. You feel bad the next day, but you keep it moving.
Right.
But if you have like one of those like 2 hours of like clothes on sleep on top of the covers, that's like a 3-day in a dark room being like, I'm a bad person, aren't I?
Do you have the problem where if you drink a lot, you wake up early the next day?
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
It's one of the weirdest things. Like, you get super hammered, you're exhausted, you're like, I'm gonna fucking sleep like a motherfucker, and then you wake up at like 7 in the morning, and you're like,
It's a chemical called glutamate in your brain.
Really?
Because it depresses GABA is the like neurotransmitter that like causes you to be like, it's like a depressant or whatever. It's the same thing like Xanax triggers or whatever.
Right.
And then so alcohol like mimics that in your brain, and then when there's like a rebound effect, you're like in like short term withdrawal, and glutamate's like the opposite chemical, and that's like the thing that gets you going.
It just gets you up.
Yeah, that's why you're so energetic and productive like the morning of a hangover, and then you crash because then those levels go back down to normal.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I've always wondered that.
So it's science fucking you over.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
See,
that's you start to get the witch trial thing then. So if you explain that to someone, you're like, that's fucking witchcraft, dude. Every time I get drunk, I wake up early. Let's fucking burn somebody.
Especially if it comes out of a woman's mouth.
Yeah.
What are you talking about,
like,
lady?
Well, it's because you drink too much. You're like, put her in the fucking lake. Drown that bitch.
Yeah.
If I gotta hear her talk one more time.
Be quiet, lady. You know,
glutamate. Fuck, that's witch talk. Get her out of here.
To some toothless peasant in the 1600s.
Yeah, you say what?
The fuck out of here.
Your beer's not the fucking problem.
It's the water.
Yeah, that must have been tough, because cigarettes were a tough pill to swallow. Finding out, that's like a couple of decades for people to really accept it.
Finding out that they're bad for you?
Yeah. Alcohol had to be a tough one.
Yeah.
To be like, because it probably made so much sense. You're like, I do always feel pretty bad after I drink it.
For a while, alcohol was all people could drink because the water was so bad. Like in medieval times, it was like people would just drink mead or beer.
Yeah.
Like, because the water is just full of our shit.
Right.
Because people just fucking throw their shit in the street.
Yeah. Or you think that was just like kind of a cope where they're like, I gotta do there's shit in the water, honey. I gotta get drunk.
Yeah. Exactly.
You want me to die?
Yeah.
That's why I'm getting drunk, because I care about you and the family. All right.
It's Monday night. They're jousting. I need to drink. This is a joyous occasion.
Monday night jousting's on. Okay. You joyless bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a medieval, like Homer Simpson.
He's eating like I don't know, what would a donut be in those times? It would be like a fucking
like a rock.
Just a sweet rock with honey on it. I'm sucking on the rock.
Ooh, this donut is good, Marge. I can't do impressions, but
no, that was like a Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, some
Homer.
That's it always comes out clear in my head, Homer. And then Homer.
Yeah. The most recent time where I got too fucked up and fell asleep in my clothes it's kind of a fun story. It was a work party.
Usually is.
It was a work party, and
no one's ever like, yeah, I got real fucked up. Woke up in my clothes. Boring.
Yeah.
Lame night. Let me tell you.
So service industry, everybody's on drugs.
Yes.
And this was a big event. I work for a restaurant that's like part of a restaurant group. So it was it was like a big event center with these. It was like an all white room with these dope ass 3D whatevers, and we had all this free food, and there was an open bar.
Oh yeah.
An open bar that allowed shots. Which is pretty fucking crazy for a bunch of bartenders and servers and Guatemalans.
Yeah.
It's like
assorted Hispanics.
Yeah. And all free. And me being an idiot, I'm like, well, I got to drink before I go.
Right.
Because I got to save my money.
Gotta get a little buzz on. Gotta get the motor started. Yeah.
Yeah, so I drank like a gin drink here, which is never a good idea.
I gotta save money at the open bar.
Yeah, exactly right. You caught that.
Took me a second.
So, and then obviously I'm there drinking pretty much anything. Like, I'm just seeing people. They're like, shot, vodka, shot, or whatever. Drinking the whole time. Didn't touch the free food. Had none of the free food. There was sushi, good shit. I'm like, there's booze over here. You see what's going on over here? And then I'm hitting weed pens and whatever else. I end up thrown up in the bathroom, not saying bye to anybody, calling an Uber, getting in the Uber, and within the first
tough.
Well, it was either that or the subway, and I wasn't gonna do that. I was in Midtown.
When you get too fucked up to take the subway, that's bad because you're like, I can't trust myself.
Dude. Yeah. And you have nowhere to vomit. Like if you get a bumpy subway ride, you're like.
That's another level of fucked up when you're like, I gotta plan my commute to where I might have to throw up at some point. I need a window or something.
So I go outside and I had like a cigarette in my hand and. Smoking it I would have immediately vomited.
You would have hit warp speed.
And thankfully, the dude was like right there.
Yeah.
So I get in the car, and it's not even 5 minutes. And I'm like, I got to do this. Yeah. And I hang out the window and vomit from Midtown to here. It was like 30 minutes of me hanging out the window, vomiting out the side of his thing. And the best part of this, two really good parts of this story, is I never let go of the cigarette. It was in my hand the whole time. And the best part is we get to the front of my place. I didn't say anything to him. He didn't say anything to me. I just got out of the car, shut the door, and just came in here and just went to sleep.
Yeah.
Didn't brush my teeth.
You leave that Uber like a whore leaving a hotel room.
Yeah. Just
money on the
Contact.
dresser. Yeah. The shame. Dude, but throwing up when you're that drunk feels really good.
Yeah.
Like I was at the Jersey Shore one time for New Year's. We were partying, and then I have like friends. We grew up in kind of like there's a well-to-do people, so there's a lot of beach houses and shit. So like we were down at like this beach house or whatever, and we've just been boozing all night, and I get back to the beach, and it's one of those volume issue pukes where I'm not too drunk, but there's just too much shit in my stomach.
Yeah.
And finally, I'm like, I gotta stop fighting it and go to the bathroom and just like
pull the
one
trach.
of those like you're puking out from like your toes all the way up to your head.
Your whole face is like leaking.
You feel like you're puking your toenails out. Everything's coming at you. And then I walk out of the bath, like tears streaming down. I look like I just took a gangbang scene. Like mascara running down my face.
Yeah. Your hair's all messed up.
Yeah. Eyes bloodshot, I'm crying a little bit. And my buddy made me make the guy I did the podcast with, actually.
Yeah.
We make eye contact from across the room as I'm walking out of the bathroom. He just like shoots me a smile. He goes, "You feel so good right now, don't you?" Yeah, boy did I.
It is nice. Sometimes but this particular night for me, sometimes you vomit and it makes you feel not better.
Yeah.
You're like, this is gonna happen
this is a
again.
spiritual issue, isn't it?
This is somewhere inside.
Yeah.
This is me at 7 years old trying to escape.
Right. There's my inner child is trying to escape my body.
Yeah. Why are you doing this to yourself, Antonio?
It's running in fear. Yeah. I've had those. I did a show in Brooklyn. Shout out Brooklyn Dreams, Carl Grant.
Oh yeah,
runs a great room.
Carl Grant.
I'm just trying to suck up so I can get booked again.
He's gonna listen.
I'm not doing well. I need the don't fuck me on this, man. I need this. They do a fun show though. It's like a monthly show, and it like turns into a party, and it's like it's a black room. So like there's just like liquor everywhere, like people are smoking like blunts in the venue and stuff like that. Great fucking time. And they had they're called Nutcrackers. You know what Nutcracker is?
No.
So I didn't either. Apparently it was a thing. I looked it up. Like they made them in like the 80s or 90s.
That's what they called you when you walk in.
Yo, this cracker nuts.
Look at this Nutcracker.
They're just calling me a cracker, and I was like, you guys heard of this drink? It's called Dumb Honky. Get out of here. Yeah, it's a Peckerwood and Coke.
Yeah.
No, but I didn't know that, like, I thought it was a mixed drink, like a double at most or whatever, because there's like tequila and juice. And so I was drinking it, and I was like, this is like pretty strong. Apparently they're like half like 3/4. Like it's like all alcohol, and they just like splash in juice for color.
Yeah.
So I thought I was drinking like a double. So I had like 3 or 4. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I have like 6 to 8 drinks. That's a pretty. And then I remember like standing up at one point and being like, I feel a little woozy. Like I don't know. And then I did one of those walk home where you like. You ever walk like drunk like an hour home?
Yes.
And
I
you
love
have
it.
you kind of go in and out, you know? You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm here.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
like
yeah.
one of those walks, right? And then I was just pinballing around my apartment, like bouncing off stuff.
Yeah.
Finally, was like, it's coming, isn't it? And just hit the toilet and just threw up everything in me.
Ugh.
And it was like you said, one of those pukes where I was just like, I feel worse somehow.
Yeah, this didn't help.
And I was like, how did this fucking? I had like 7 drinks. Like this is insane. And then I told the guy, I was like, next time I was at the venue, I was like, dude, like how strong were those? I had like 4 of them. He was like, you had 4. You have 2 of those at most. And I was like, okay, that's
Gotcha.
I didn't know. So
It's the juice too. That sweet shit
yeah,
fucks
the
you up.
sweet shit. I can do like a bottle of whiskey straight. But if
Mm.
you start mixing in soda or something, I get all woozy.
Yeah. That's why I do like I like a gin and tonic, or like if I'm
yeah.
out like drinking like
Yeah.
clubs and shit, I'll do like tequila soda or something.
Okay, I
you
think
know.
gin and tonic's a nice summer drink. That's my
Yeah.
hot girl summer drink.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be a real
yeah.
slut.
That's right.
Yeah, I get a few G&Ts in me and start giving all the boys the eyelashes at the bar.
A nice
yeah.
botanical
Yeah, ooh,
taste.
yeah.
Mm.
Gin turns you into a sociopath too. Gin drunk is my favorite drunk.
It is nice.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
really just shut the lights off. You know?
Yeah. You really. I had a gin martini this weekend. I was like,
yeah, it'll turn
this
your
is
soul
nice.
off.
Yeah, this
I
is
like
good.
that. I like the whiskey and gin. I'd say are my 2 favorite drunks.
Yeah. The only problem with whiskey is the dick department.
Really?
Fucks you. At least me. Yeah.
I've had
not with other booze. Literally only whiskey with me.
I've had one, and knock on wood, because I'm supposed to go on a date after this, but
Yeah.
I've had one instance of whiskey dick where actually where I was like, you got this just ain't gonna happen.
Mm.
Most of the time where I was like, it's a little wiggly,
Yeah.
you get like a little 5 to 10 minutes of suction down there, and
Yeah,
you're
we
just
can
right
make it
back
happen.
into action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got a little trouble one time. A girl, I came over, and we were like both just like drunk pieces of shit at the time, like hooking up, and it's just the most toxic like situation of all
Nice.
time. And I remember one time I showed up at her place. She called me, and then I showed up with a beer in my hands. She's not thrilled, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I was like, "You called me," and she's like, "All right, come here, let's fuck."
Yeah.
And then we like go at it, and I'm so hammered, my dick's not doing anything.
Nice.
And I'm like, do that classic, like, you suck it a little bit, maybe it'll work. And then I lean back, and she's like, I'm like, oh, there we go, now we're getting it.
Yeah.
And I see the beer that I brought with me on the like ledge next to the bed. I was like, I'm gonna try something. I reach over and crack the beer while she's sucking me
I'm
off.
gonna try something.
While she's sucking me off to fix the whiskey dick. And boy, let me tell you, if looks could kill, she was.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fair. You're right. Let's save it for later.
Damn. Holy fuck.
Yeah, but I've only had one time. It was actually the only black girl I've ever had sex with. I brought her back, and I just
Couldn't
my
make it
dick
happen.
was a fucking piece of. I did
Wow.
nothing for race relations
was-
on that.
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
I really set us back decades.
She was upset for sure.
No, I was really excited too. I was like, hell yeah, she's real hot, and I just
Didn't work.
couldn't get it there. I had to go smoke like a very shameful cigarette outside
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
And that's the one where I was like, I get what they mean about the whole whiskey dick.
You had a
thing.
racist dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I've always kind of wondered. I was like, I'm like kind of scared to hook up with another black chick. 'cause
Yeah.
One time is an isolated incident.
Yeah.
If I get, if I have boner problems with another black woman, I'm like,
Yeah.
hey,
Hey.
I'm not racist, but little Tyler might be.
He's not invited to the barbecue.
Medium sized Tyler, adequate sized Tyler might be.
I had a convenient case of whiskey dick one time where
That's good.
because the girl told me she had herpes.
Your dick was kind of like it knew something in it knew. And it was
Yeah. Like we were drunk, but she said that, and I was like, all right, yeah, this probably isn't gonna happen.
Would you? If it had worked, would you have gone for it?
Yeah.
Really?
I think I still probably would have.
You would have rolled the dice.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I think I still would have. I mean, I would have wore a rubber, but
I would hope so.
yeah.
You're like, I would have gone in raw. I was
Wait
like,
a
that's
second, you have herpes? Let me fucking take this thing off.
Let me get a little dab of that.
That's right. Well, I think we should put a bow on this fucker.
Yeah,
What do you
that's a
say?
good place to leave it.
Yeah. Whiskey dick, and there was a black girl too, so whiskey dick. And,
Racist dick. That's,
Yeah.
that's the title of the episode, folks.
That's my uncle, racist dick.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, sir? Instagram, whatever else.
Instagram, LosierTy13, LOSIERTY13. It's LOSIERTY13.
There you go.
And I got a couple bar shows coming up in April. I don't know when this comes out, but
this will be out this week, so you can say it. Fuck it.
I forget where it is. Follow me on Instagram. I'll post it. I'm sorry to the bookers who took a chance on me. And I'm using the one platform I have and totally blowing it. But we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I'll do a type 5. Don't worry.
That's right.
But that's pretty much it. Yeah. If you want to see the podcast too, there's a link to it on my Instagram. So all the old clips and shit like that.
What's it called again?
Could be worse.
Could be worse. There you go. And it could be, folks.
Boy, could it.
We're here. We're living. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.